we're streaming.
Wonderful. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today and for another installment of Low Stress High Mayhem, where we choose a ttrpg, gather some librarians, play together, and then talk about how that game can work in our library. I'm Danielle Costello, the current GameRT event programming co-chair, and I'm a research and instruction librarian from Louisiana State University, where I teach library instruction and develop programming and games kind of fun stuff for our student body. If everybody would like to go around and kind of introduce yourself, I will poke at Russell and you can start.
All right. Hi. Thank you, Danielle. My name is Russell Brandon. I'm the Data Services Librarian at Fant Memorial Library and the Director at the Cawson Center for Teaching and Learning at the Mississippi University for Women in Columbus, Mississippi. And I am on the programming committee and have been having a blast. And I'm going to send the energy ball to Liz.
Hello, world. I'm Liz Brown. I work for the Public Library in Baltimore County, Maryland, and I am the Gaming Roundtable Secretary.
And Amber?
Hello, everyone. My name is Amber Sewell. I'm a teaching and learning librarian at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where I work primarily with first-year students. I am a member of the programming planning committee and a member at large for GameRT.
Beautiful. And now lastly, but not leastly, our wonderful, fantastic guest.
Hi, everyone. Heather O'Neill with Ninth Level Games. So Ninth Level is a indie tabletop publisher that does board games and role-playing games, a little heavier on the role-playing games that are very approachable for all ages. So what we're trying to do is not just make the next D&D, but make either things that are going to be approachable for bigger audiences or fill a niche that isn't out there. And that's what we're doing today with Venture Society.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Heather. So to explain, this event is being held live. However, if you need and would like to leave or would like to watch it again later, we're going to have a Twitch on demand accessible right after we end. And if you aren't following us on GameRT or Twitch, please give us a follow so we can build the channel. Links for all those places like our blog, Facebook, and Discord will be added below. Please check them out. And for anyone previously not familiar with GameRT, we are the Games and Gaming Roundtable of the American Library Association. Our mission is to promote games in libraries, whether that's programming, collection development, community building, prototyping, playtesting, research, or doing fun shenanigans like this to get you excited and hyped about all the games within the beautiful Hobbian sphere. So along with this Twitch program, we also have a professional development series, a webinar series, as well as a learn and play. These events usually alternate each month. And next month, I'm so excited, we're going to be going and delving into solo RPGs. Going Solo by Finley Polaniki is a webinar that will focus on solo analog gaming, specifically solo journaling games, and a wide array of benefits of those games. There's going to be sections on designing the solo RPGs based on their own experiences developing games in a very short time, also introducing pen and paper role-playing games and why those work in library environments. The link to register for that will be below, and that's going to be on the 20th of October. As well, in October, we're on the 14th. We're going to do another Low Stress High Mayhem, where Russell and I are going to be rivals. Our previous characters are now grown up and are in high school and are battling out with some battle bots. So please come in, check that out as well. So now that I've explained that, oh, and a couple more things. Let me go pop over. So we got the 14th, the 20th, and then the 21st. How could I forget? We have the Spooky Spectacular. So we are partnering with two other roundtables, the Games Roundtable, Film and Media Roundtable, the Graphic Novels and Comics Roundtable. It's a mouthful. I know, Liz.
You got it.
I know, for the first time ever. Oh, so beautiful. And we are going to be doing a variety of programming based on our media and going into the spooky, delightful, Halloween-y type things in that media. So we're going to do roundtables. We're going to play some games. The graphics novel people have come through, and we're going to have a live reading of Boom Comics' newest comic Hollow. Yes, I said that right. And they're going to come and do a beautiful reading for us. And then we're going to kind of cap it all off with some Nosferatu. So please come and once again, links below, register for that again. So with all that said, all our events, I'm going to hand it over to Heather so she can explain how this game is played and what we're doing today.
Sure, sounds good. So what we're doing today is we're playing a game called Venture Society. And Venture Society is a polymorph role-playing game, which is the system that ninth level uses for most of our RPGs. And I just want to go over that real quick before we get into it, just to understand, why we feel this works really well for younger audiences. So in Polymorph, it's narrative focus, rules light. It is 1 die per player is what you ever roll. So when you're making your character, your roll, ROLE, is going to determine what you roll, ROLL. And you're only ever going to roll that type of die. And in this particular game, that's a 6, 8, or 10. And when we're doing that, there's going to be a chart of numbers that you have to hit. So there's no math, there's no chart reference other than that one chart, I guess, technically. So when you're going to roll, maybe I do a move roll. I need a 3, 4, or 5, regardless of if it's a 6, 8, or 10. And if I hit it, I succeed. If I don't succeed. It's very simple for the player who may not know, how something like a D&D works, or a lot of like plus minuses in other games. And it's also really easy if you're a new GM, because it's pretty straightforward. We're all seeing the same thing. The other thing is the GM never rolls. So you're working off the player. It's very player focused, and you're working off their narrative. Okay. So we've got that going on, which is why we really wanted to use the system for Adventure Society, because this is an all ages, non-violent role-playing game that uses social emotional learning as the economy, and rewards and builds skills of communication, social, and emotional wellness. So that's what we're really using in the background through fun adventures, so that to a kid or a player, it doesn't seem necessarily that way, but to the person running it, you're actually building skills. And over time, there's potentially specific issues that you could pick an adventure for, that you could say, oh, there's a bullying issue, there's a peer pressure issue, there's an anxiety issue here. I'm going to bring that one up to this group, or I'm going to bring that up for my kids, or something like that, right? So we've got those abilities, but it's also just a really light, kind of fun adventure that's very targeted to like a 5 to 12-year-old audience. We've played with many adults who also think it's great, but the idea is it's very accessible for that 5 to 12-year-old audience, and very easy to run and play for someone who maybe never GM'd before, or isn't familiar with what you have to do. So that's kind of what the game is. Just wanted to preface that, and why I think it would be great for libraries. And I know Danielle and I have talked about this, and some other people. We really wanted to show it off here. In Venture Society, though, it's a world of animals who are members of the Venture Society, which is a worldwide organization where you are trying to do good things around, your community. It's kind of Scouts meets Student Council. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go through character creation, and we're going to do a short adventure and chat about it at the end. So just to give everybody another quick thing about the game is all of the adventures are meant to run 30 to 45 minutes, because probably your sessions or your class or whatever is not going to be much more than an hour or 2 hours. So it's impossible sometimes to do a full role-playing session of 3 to 4 hours anyway. So this is meant to be in chunks like that, so that you can actually get a full adventure in. So one of the things I want to start with is explaining what kind of characters you can be, and maybe if you have the character sheet that you could show everyone out there. We're in a world of animals. You can be any animal you want to be. And basically, the only things you need to know about your character are: what kind of animal are you? What helpful thing do you do around town? In quotes, job, but maybe it's not a job. Maybe you're younger and you just help people. And what item do you always have with you? So I'm going to let you think of that for a minute, unless anyone feels like they've got it immediately, while I explain the how you're going to be assigned your dice. So irregardless of what you pick for animal or job, which are going to give you inherent skills, right? If you're a bird, you can fly. It's just, you can fly. We don't ask any questions. If you're a cat, you can probably climb a tree, for example. If you're a water animal, you could swim. But if you have a job that maybe gives you some sort of edge, that will just happen because it's the type of skill you have. In addition to that, you're going to either be a mover type of personality, a talker, or protector. A mover likes to solve their problems or get things done through actual movement, or like making an action plan, doing it, we're going to get this done, kind of an attitude. where a talker, of course, is going to talk this through, ask questions, inquire, how's everyone feeling? Let's talk about the plan, that kind of thing, and be loud and make noises or something. And then the protector, of course, is going to be brave, help others, be supportive, make sure that everyone's feeling good, that kind of thing. So if you, as you think of your character, are already like, I'm definitely one of these three types of personality, great. But if not, we can also just, pick at random or whatever you want. Any thoughts? Anybody have a character they're ready for? Okay, Russell's ready.
Sorry, switching computers.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
Columbus, Mississippi is also known as Possum Town. So
Oh, okay. So
and I
awesome.
think this possum is probably very much a mover because of that, that good old prehensile tail. And I guess we can. Should I go through the whole thing? I don't know.
Sure. If you got it down, let's do it.
An item. You know what? He always has a what are those things called? The stick that you use to pick up trash. And then that's his job. That's what he does. He just kind of
It's a trash picker upper, Russell.
Trash.
Yeah, he's just kind of wandering around. It's one of those things that like poke it, smell it a little bit, be like, is this edible?
This, yeah. Okay, and are you also Russell the Possum, or does your possum have a different name?
I think maybe just to keep it a little bit easier, he'll be Rusty. He goes by Rusty.
Rusty, okay. Rusty the Possum is a mover who picks up trash with a trash picker upper. And that would mean that you are a D6. So that would be the dice that you need when you're rolling. Anyone else ready?
Okay, I desperately want to be a capybara because I think they're the chillest, coolest creatures on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And to get in with that vibe, I'm thinking protector, like doesn't talk much, doesn't move around, but is always there and always helpful. And I think my favorite thing in the world is feeding people. So I just have like a bag of snacks. I am ready. Like if somebody's feeling like that sugar's getting low, it's like, bam, I'm there. I got this. I got you. It's like, there's little kids. Oh, I got good, treats. That's my job is I try to feed like whatever town we're living in.
Make sure everyone's fed, right?
Fed,
okay.
Yep.
Okay. And does your capybara have a name? Is it Danielle the capybara? Is it Cappy? It
might be Candy Capybara.
Candy?
Candy. Yeah. Because she's sweet and she likes giving food.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I should double check. So Rusty is a he, a she? A they?
He, him.
Yeah, okay. All right, Liz or Amber, where are we at with what are you thinking?
I'm gonna overthink all of this, so I'm just gonna go with it and see what comes out.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna play the Jaguar. I'm gonna take inspiration from my background here.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm gonna say, what is my job? Is there school in this town? Okay, then I'm gonna say I post up near the crosswalk and I just observe, like I watch to make sure the kids make it safely across. Like if things happen, I can jump down real quick, get real big and mean, but otherwise I'm just like lounging, just observing. I guess in that vein, I would also be a protector. And the thing I always have with me is, in kindergarten, you have those little nap pads. I'm going to have that. So if anybody wants to chill out under my tree with me, I'm very big about promoting rest and taking care of yourself. So if you just want to hang with me, I've always got like a spare pad to take a nap.
Nice. I love work-life balance.
Yeah. Yes, you too. Yeah. All right. And it's your Jaguar who's a crossing
guard cat, I guess.
Crossing guard cat, but in the most chillest of ways.
The chillest.
You can just run over really quick and get them. I get it.
Yeah. Maybe my tree limb goes right over the crosswalk, so I can just hop down.
Super easy.
Yeah.
All right. And does this Jaguar have a different name than Amber, or what are we thinking?
No. It is Amber.
That's fine. No, totally fine. All right, Liz, what do we got? What animal are you?
All right. So I'm going to be a pangolin.
Ooh. Not the first pangolin I've had.
No, they're awesome.
Not the
That
first
way
time
we can. And I think the name is going to be Pie Wacket because I'm getting into the spooky season mood. And they'll use they them pronouns.
Okay.
And
Oh, I forgot
since
that.
we need to round up the team, I will be a talker.
Sure.
Russell, you stole my job. I was going to be a trash picker upper. So now I'm thinking instead, since I'm going to be a talker instead, I'm kind of thinking maybe I have a foraging pouch or like something
Yeah.
to collect samples with. Like, I don't want a whole chemistry set, but like something to like baggies or bottles or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. And you're like, you just collect things out as you're around town, the forest, wherever you are. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
I'd like to make one amendment. I just realized, like, instead of a sack, it's like like the platonic ideal of a picnic basket.
Yeah.
Like wicker, has the overhanging kerchief. There we go.
I'm getting it. Okay.
So Yogi Bear's picnic basket.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yes, got it. Awesome. That sounds good. And then Amber, the Jaguar, are you she, he, or they? Jaguar.
Who would say?
Okay, great. Awesome. So let's go through these, everybody, and just kind of see. So let's say hi, Rusty. Rusty is a possum who likes to pick up trash and has a trash picker upper, and they're a mover. They get things done. Danielle is Candy, the capybara. You're a protector with a picnic basket always full of snacks and making sure that everybody is well fed.
Snack.
Amber, the jaguar, is a crossing guard jaguar that it protects the children or anyone crossing by lounging on your branch. You've got nap pads around just in case anyone wants to do that. And you can always jump into action, for that 1 second and then go back to sleep for 23 more hours. So it's great. And then we've got, is it Pie Wacket, the pangolin, who is a forager that has foraging pouch on them and is a talker. So we've got that. So let me go through the dice. Possum Rusty has a D6. Pie Wacket has a D8, and Candy and Amber have a D10. All right. Part of this game is you may have advantage. There is disadvantage, but it's rare. So you might have to roll twice. Other than that, you're basically going to roll your die once, and we're going to see how you do against the chart of numbers. The other thing you might notice on that chart, if that's up, is there's a couple of different options for you. So the help is the first one that says 1. You don't actually say, I'm going to roll help. That happens when you roll a 1. If you ever roll a 1, that gives you a help token if you don't have any. Also gives you an extra 1, but it's an option for someone else to narrate how they could help you. Then focus, which is 2 or 3, is when you're trying to focus on something. You're trying to use your head. You're trying to really concentrate on something, and that might be a myriad of different things. But basically, if you can, if it sounds like a focus roll, that's what we're going to use. Move is physical movement, that kind of thing. It would be a 3, 4, 5. Words, obviously, talking and anything that might be that kind of thing would be a 4, 5, 6, or 7. And then heart, which is very much on your bravery side of things, protection type of things, is going to be your 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. You're also going to see on there, it says crown, or maybe it says top. When you roll the highest number on your particular die, it's basically an automatic success. It's not even just like an automatic success. It's like a major, like amazing thing happens. And in the game, we have like all the kids yell venture, and then they explain like, what did you do? Like, you're after, you saved somebody from the crossing guard, from a stampede or something, and so it's like a very epic, like over the top, like a crit type of thing. So that's kind of the idea there. And that's basically it. Otherwise, if your character can do something, it's probably going to do it. And if you can argue that you don't need to roll or you get advantage, or that's also fine. Again, very light otherwise in the gameplay. So before we get started I'm going to go through the world a little bit, and then we'll get going into the adventure. Does anybody have any questions or anything I didn't go over that you're unsure about?
Yeah. Real quick clarification. I was a little bit distracted. So this is the totals for, like heart getting a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, right?
Correct. And you're just going to roll the 1 die. So basically on your D6, You might say, well, how could I get a 9? Well, you can't, but you can get a 6, which is your top of your die, and this amazing thing happens. And basically, that's why in some cases, if your character's motivation is to do more moving things, you're going to probably be hitting those, doing stats that are those lower numbers. Where if you're more of a protector, you're probably going to be using words and hearts more often. Maybe not, but that's the idea behind it here.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and all polymorph system games have this type of chart. In this case, we did remove the D4, which is in a lot of the other games, mainly because a lot of people have issues reading a D4 or many other manipulation issues with that dice. So we just decided to just simplify it down to just the 3 for this. So here we go. All right. Let me make sure I've got everything up here. Make sure I'm ready for this. All right. Welcome to Adventure Society, everyone. We're so glad that you're new members and you're here to make a difference. I'm your new guide, Heather, and I'm a hamster. Just thought I would say that since you cannot see me as a hamster here. I've been a member of Adventure Society for 15 years already, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. I love it. Actually, I think this is reminding me of a story that happened many years ago. Many years ago, I was a new recruit and I thought maybe I knew everything already. And, I didn't need the history of our town or organization. And I ended up really, really having a tough time my first year, and I didn't understand what was going on. Then my guide that year really sat me down and got me focused on what the society really does. So I want to start out today by kind of just a quick overview about the society, and hopefully this will clarify things so that you don't do what I did and not really understand what the society was the first time you go out on one of your adventures. So many years ago, as you've probably heard, all of the regions of our world used to be at war. Thankfully, there was a few brave animals from every region that threw down their weapons and in the name of peace and said, we're not doing this anymore. We can't live like this. And they formed the Venture Society together. And today, Venture Village, the town in which we are standing right now, didn't exist at the time. That was where everyone came together in the center of the 4 regions to actually make this peace treaty. And you can see the statue outside of the building here is a representation of that, that peace that day. So now we are very lucky. It's many, many, many years later, hundreds of years later, and all of the regions are at peace, and we're in this melting pot town now. So even though there's peace, it doesn't mean there's not disagreements. It doesn't mean that things, are always harmonious all of the time. So what the Venture Society tries to do is help out people who are struggling or having troubles. And this way, there's more harmony in the community. They know they can come to us and they don't need to feel sad or angry, hopefully, as much as maybe they would have if we weren't here. Let's see here. Okay. Sorry. I need a second to scroll through my adventure here. Okay, so we are ready to do our new adventure. This is going to be the first time you're out as Venture Society leaders or members, and I'm very excited for this for all of you. How are you feeling? Are you getting excited? Are you getting nervous about, the first time wearing the uniform and being out there?
Rusty's shirt is definitely on backwards. Just like but it's not because he put it on backwards. It's because he's just like been kind of moving it around and like his arms inside. He's like, oh yeah, really, really excited.
He's really excited. All right, great. I'm glad to hear it.
Amber's probably a little nervous, but you can only tell it because the tip of the tail is twitching. I feel like being cool and like calm is part of their like persona. So definitely going to try to hide it, but you can tell there's a little bit of nervousness.
Okay. All right.
I think in a very similar vein, Candy is also just looking through her bag. It's like, okay, got that snack, and those are dietary good. There's gluten free. These are sugar. She's like a little like murmur where you can hear that like it's like, but not quite. You can make it out, but that's the kind of like in the little ears, little twitching around. But other than that, is kind of just hanging out.
Just feeling okay, great. And how about Pie Wacket? How are you feeling?
High Wacket is not really sure where they fall in between uh excitement and nervousness. They're in there somewhere. And they're like bouncing on their toes with ready to get started.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Well, I'm going to be leading you today, but I just realized that maybe you don't all know each other as well as I know you. So I feel like Rusty, you look like you're really ready to like get moving here. And, maybe you want to introduce yourself to everyone since we're all going to be going on an adventure together.
Hi, my name's Rusty, and you might see me around. I really like trash. The saying, one person's trash is another person's treasure. For me, trash is trash, but trash is a treasure, and a treasure to be determined upon pickup. And he's kind of just looking around, shirt is like half up underneath his chin, doing that thing. And I'm really excited.
Great. Anyone else like trash or treasures or anything like that?
I'm gonna start unwrapping like a moon pie and offer both the pie and the trash to Rusty. Like, I don't know if you like food and trash. I figured this might be a good combo. Also, oh, I'm so sorry I didn't ask. Are you gluten intolerant and or can you eat sugar? Your dietary preferences?
Moon pie is already gone.
Oh, excellent. I got so many. Oh, it's okay. I carry an EpiPen too. Hi, everyone. I'm Candy. I really like snacks and I got a lot of them. So if you'd let me know your dietary preferences or needs or any of that, I love feeding people. So that's my favorite thing in the world. If I could help with that at all, oh, that'd be so much fun. So, yep, I like food.
Nice. Yeah, who doesn't, right? Yeah. So, all right.
And then start offering the basket to everybody who I haven't even met yet. It's like, whoop, whoop.
I whack it. I mean, you probably like food, right?
I do. My dietary preferences are vegetarian. Thank you for asking.
Turn around.
I really like trash too, Rusty. You can call me Pie if you want. Also, do you have any pie?
It's like Mary Poppins style. I'm just gonna put magic into this world, and so I move around one like quadrant, and then my hand just completely disappears down into my elbow, and then a pie appears, and it's vegetable based because. So it's like a root vegetable pie, like very autumnal.
Nice.
So Pie starts nomming on the pie, and I agree with you, Rusty. One person's trash can be another person's treasure, and I like helping people find their treasures.
Ooh, nice.
I'm just gonna walk up and be like, "Hi, I'm Amber. You may have seen me in my tree. I am either napping or watching to make sure everything is in order. I can't say I care too much about trash, but Candy, if you've got any meat flavored meat, got a Slim Jim, got a sausage, I'm here for it. I do like food a lot. It goes well with napping.
And then I pull out like a little charcuterie board of like sliced meats.
Just so delicately with like one little claw, just picking it up and just
I'm like
this is
cheese, like
delectable. Thank you.
So one thing I need to know, Amber, does Amber wear a reflective vest or are they going for like camouflage?
I think they're going for camouflage. Like, I don't want you to know I'm there. I'm here to catch you out a little bit. Like,
Mm.
Yeah.
you should be on your best behavior all the time, not just when you can see that I'm watching.
Yeah.
The panopticon of a jaguar.
This is exactly why you probably joined the Venture Society, this is great, so everybody's kind of got their thing that they like to do, and it sounds like in a lot of different ways you want to be helping people, and guess what, that's what we're going to do today. So you may remember last summer, there was that big summer festival, and we decided to make it an annual event. Now that, we've got a lot more people moving into town, and it was just so well received. So we talked to the mayor, and the Venture Society is going to help get the preparations going. So what we're going to do today is make posters and then deliver them around to the other towns. Now, luckily, the towns are very walkable, and there's some distance, but we've got a couple modes of transportation that we can work through to do that all in one day. I think we can do it. We just got to be back by sunset, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Now, typically, we would have physical paper, and we would be doing this. So if you have something physical, great. If not, this can be something we can just describe verbally. But the idea in Venture Society is that there's perfect. Post it, the piece of trash, great. So what there typically would be is a hands-on activity to bring people back to the table. So in this regard, we would have them like draw a thing, and then throughout the game, like referencing that physical thing that they drew. So in this case, it would be like, hey, make a poster about the summer festival with a thing you're excited about, and a thing that makes you feel like happy or safe about your town, right? Would be the thing. So if anyone does actually have paper and you want to draw this, I will give you a minute to make a sign that says summer festival and a picture of something that you're excited about at the festival, and maybe a reason that you really like Venture Village and your town. And while you're doing that, I'm going to take a look at the map and make sure that we do this in the most efficient way. So I'm scribbling away.
And Rusty is like kind of half going through his backpack, or his fanny pack, we'll say he's a fanny pack,
Sure.
for like pens and pencils, but also going through the trash bag that he has for any sort of like collage materials too.
Oh, pardon. What was the name of our town again?
Venture Village.
So would
This is my very accurate map. I'm very, very happy about this. I have tiny hands.
just imagining the little hamster like
I'm
with
like
the
running around, like
little
looking at the
head.
bigger map, and then I made myself a tiny map. So there we go. My size map. All right, what do we have here, Candy? Oh, Candy.
Candy needs to unmute herself. So I got this one. It's on venture into victuals. That's how you say food in like another way. And I have soup, ice cream, and German chocolate cake, and it's really real. That's the most important thing. The cake is real, y'all.
Real cake. Awesome.
Real cake.
And I know the menu is a little unbalanced, but I figure everybody likes soup, cake, and ice cream. I don't think there's any disagreements there.
Can't go wrong. Yeah, you can't go wrong.
No pizza.
Oh no.
Both gluten and dairy. I know there's ice cream, which is dairy, but the cake is 100% gluten free. And sometimes the ice cream, if you think about it, coconut is just as good as, cream.
Yeah.
So
okay, Rusty
is like summer bash and trash in Venture Village. Make some trash at the summer bash.
That's a very good poster.
And then it all crumpled up. It's like on an old flyer from somewhere else.
Rusty, you know the good thing about trash, like food trash, is it becomes compost, and then we put it into gardens, and then that becomes more food. So I think I'm with you in that trash is really cool.
Yeah. Amber, what you look like you're finished. Okay, what do we have
Yeah.
here? Ooh,
I have
summer.
my summer festival. We have relaxing boat rides because I love the water. Got an inner tube so you can float and nap in the water. And then we've got a lot of trees around for great napping in and below. So after you've done your really fun activities, you just take a nap because you know sometimes that takes a lot out of you.
That sounds great. And we do have a lot of trees, so
This is the best, chillest village. I love it so much.
Pie, what do we have?
So I decided, oh God, can I do this?
Yeah,
There we
you
go. Kind of. There we go. So
Summer?
I decided to highlight the fact that the festival is in the park because I love the park. It's my favorite place to meet up with all of my friends, and we get to play outside and be together, and we can all bring our favorite things to play with.
Yes, I love it. Well, I'm gonna have my assistant here. Yeah, here. They're gonna go ahead and make some copies of these, and then we're gonna get ourselves ready to go. So we're here in the center, in Venture Village. And as you know, right across the bridge is Oasis City, the big city where all of the concerts are, and there's the beach there, and that's a fun one. Then we'll go from there to Riverdale. Just make a quick stop there, pop over to Twilight Peaks in the mountains. Not the top of the mountain. We can just go to the base mountain and drop it off at their station there. And then we'll go to the Sherwood Forest on the way back. So we're going to go ahead and get our butts in gear and get out there. So Ben, I want to make sure everyone's ready to get on the road. Is everyone ready to get on the road?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So we're going to start with Oasis City, which it's probably about a 15-minute walk from where we currently are. So we go outside Venture Village, we go over a bridge over a river. And within 5 minutes of getting over that bridge, you can start to see the buildings, and there's more shops, and you can tell that we're in Venture Village. Now, I've been to Oasis City. Sorry, I've been there many a time, but I'm not sure. Has anyone else ever come here before for any family trips or anything from school? Have you been lucky enough to be here before?
I think so. I think pie is pretty cosmopolitan. I think that's probably why the park is such a novelty for them.
Yeah, they're like, it's so quaint. Yeah, no, yeah. So I that sounds like it makes sense. I mean, you're foraging. There's a lot of things to forage here. There's actually a good amount of trash too, Rusty. So you might see that around. Unfortunately, it has gotten quite busy here, and some people forget to put their trash in the trash can. So you're probably going to find a lot of trash along the way. But what we're looking for is we're trying to find the Oasis City Outpost. It should be right along here somewhere before we get into the main town. Let me see here as we're coming up. I just can't get a good vantage point. Amber,
What? You need a vantage point?
yeah, I'm too tiny. I need some help here. Does anybody see? It's kind of like a blue and white building, and it says Oasis City really big. Can anybody see that up ahead?
I think so. Rusty's just gonna kind of run up if there are any sort of like poles or trees or anything like that. Even though he could be higher if he was up on top of it, he swings down with his tail and kind of.
Yep.
But he does this so that the sun doesn't hit his eyes on that direction. And he looks back. So this is gonna take. I guess he can move pretty easily, but focusing.
Yeah, I think we could get up there, no problem. But if you want to give me a focus roll and see if you can calm down from that moon pie sugar rush that you're probably still on,
Awesome.
to see if you can remember what I asked you to look for.
All right. So I'm going for a 2 or a 3, or okay.
You're looking for a 2 or a 3. Yep.
Ah, I got a 2.
Thanks. Awesome.
I see it.
oh, it's okay. It's right up ahead. Okay, Rusty, lead the way. So so you've done your job. I realized later, I was like, I should have asked when you climb up here a long time ago. What was I thinking? And you walk us up there, no problem. We go in, and I kind of, go up to the desk, and I'm like, oh, is Ashley here? And this snake kind of slithers up the desk, and she's like, yeah, I'm Ashley. So like, oh, well, we're with the Venture Society, and we're here delivering these posters off. Would you be able to take them? And she says, oh, well, a festival, that sounds like kind of fun. What's it like?
It can be like super relaxing.
Ooh.
It is a great place to like be with your community and just kind of chill.
Okay, well, that I like the sound of that, because I don't like crowd. I'm a little bit afraid of like large crowds, and like I don't like to get stepped. I get stepped on a lot when I'm in a large crowd, because I'm like kind of small and low to the ground, and like, you know, it gets a little bit scary for me. Um, but it'd be kind of cool if I could just chill like by a tree or something. That sounds cool.
By a tree. We have so many trees.
Trees?
I could have a nap pad for you, brightly colored, so people can see it, so you don't get stepped on. I'm thinking like neon pink, neon yellow, safety orange.
This is not the kind of festival I've ever heard of. This is amazing.
I mean, other people do other things, but I'm
Oh.
really just here for the napping.
Okay, awesome. Does it get loud there? Because like I don't like it when it gets really loud. Like if there's too many loud noises, like does it get loud, or is there a place that's kind of quiet that I could go?
Well, the nice thing is that it's a big, big area. It's the whole the whole town festival. And so we're celebrating all the different aspects. So people who are really into like being loud and excited, we got a whole bouncy castle for them. But if you're just into chilling and just kind of hanging out, like you can take all your snacks and just hang out by the river under the tree. There's like all kinds of places. And then we definitely mark out like this is an active space, and then these are chill out spaces, because it's really important to take care of mental health and accommodate for everybody.
Yeah, no, because I mean that I've always grown up here in Oasis City, but it's so loud for me, and I think about moving, but I'm also like the outpost leader, and this is my town, so I'm always worried. I don't want to leave, and then I'm gonna miss it so much. But I when I go away, I go places that are very quiet and tranquil, like up on the mountains and things. So this might actually be something that I could do. Okay. Great. So like she kind of like puts it under, like keeps one for herself, like far to the side. She's like, no problem. I will get these out. They'll be put up by the end of this weekend, and everyone will know about it. And I'm going to tell all of my outpost coworkers to spread the word. So this sounds really awesome. Totally going to be the coolest festival I've ever been to, because I usually don't like festivals. So like that was a very easy, drop off. You're all feeling really good. She's excited, like you made a connection with somebody new. And then we're gonna head up to Riverdale. So Riverdale, there's two options. We can walk it up the road, or we could take the riverboat. So if we take the riverboat, it'll be a really nice view, and we won't have to walk. But we might have to wait for the next boat, and it costs a couple of coins, which I have. Your parents gave me. I have coins for everybody, so we could do that. But maybe you want to spend those coins on something else. So what does everybody think? Should we riverboat or should we walk?
I've never taken a riverboat.
Ooh,
I really like a riverboat. It's very chill.
yeah, it's pretty tranquil.
The wind in your face. It's very nice.
Anytime I'm on a river, whether it's in the river, on top of the river, I'm here for it.
He's like kind of playing with his tail, and he's just I love the river. I just don't want to get wet.
Yeah, and like secretly, I'm like, yes, because I did not want to walk. I was going to have to be like, hey, Amber, can I hitch a ride? So so I'm trying to play it cool, but obviously I just really wanted you guys to say to we're both. So I'm like, great. I know the schedule right now. And all of a sudden I've got the schedule out. I know exactly where it's going. We go around the corner and buy the 5 tickets. And basically it's a standard wooden boat. It's run by just the sweetest walrus that you've ever met. He is just kind of like one of those like older guys that's like been around and like really, really nice, knows everything about the area. So, he welcomes you in, and I'm like, these are some new Venture Society members. And he's like, oh wow, I was in the Venture Society when I was a kid, but then I had to move on as the captain of my own ship. So he's excited, he's showing you around, he's pointing out all of the little gadgets and everything on there. And as we're going along,
what's your ship's name, and what's your name?
What's my name?
Walrus Captain.
Walrus Captain. We're gonna go with Wally because I did not think of that till right now. I go by Wally. Well, Mr. Walrus is my father's name. Yeah, Captain Walrus is my father's name, and my ship is the SS Speedboat. It doesn't go very fast, so I thought that was a funny pun. So we're gonna probably, we're gonna go a good, 2 to 3 miles an hour here. So you're gonna feel that wind in your face. You're gonna see there's a turtle right there. What do we see? Oh, there's an old rock. That's a really cool rock. I used to like hang out on that rock a lot when I was a kid. So he's pointing out these like kind of mundane but also interesting things with these like little tidbit stories. As you get kind of towards the end of the road, where you start seeing like more and more houses, and there's more other smaller boats getting into the Riverdale area, you ask or we all ask Wally if they know who's in charge of the outpost for Riverdale. I keep saying that because it's so similar. And he's like, oh, I don't know these days. There's been a couple of changes over there, but you can't miss it. It's right on the pier where I'm going to drop you off. So we're like feeling pretty confident about it. And Wally's just kind of chilling there. We've got a couple more minutes before we're going to get off the boat. I'm completely like just sunning myself. Everybody, what are you doing on the boat? Like, is there anything else on the boat that you want to be doing before we get off? Any other fun tidbits here?
Is it around lunchtime? Has this taken long enough to get to a mealtime?
It's about getting close. Like, we probably will be having something here. Yeah.
Yes. So. The picnic blanket comes out.
Nice.
And yeah. Whatever anybody wants is somehow there.
Great. Yeah. So we're really having a good day. We're just munching, and Wally's even like, do you mind if okay, great. Oh,
Rusty's kind of over the edge, like, or his hands are like on the side, and he kind of like has his neck on the side, and he will occasionally like watch things go by and be like, try.
Yeah.
High Wacket is doing their best, like ship's prow impersonation. Their tail is on the railing, and they're like off the edge, and they're just like waving to everyone they pass.
Nice.
Just very enthusiastically, like because in their first regatta or something like that. Yes.
Awesome. So, again, I've been there before. I'm letting the kids have their fun. I'm kind of chilling. I'm not really paying attention. And Wally goes, oh my God, everyone look to the left. And there's a turtle asleep on a rock in the middle of the river. And he's realizing he's trying to move the boat. And for some reason, something is locking the wheel. Like he's about to hit this rock with the turtle sleeping on it. Yeah, so Wally is like frantically like pulling levers. He's pulling the wheel. Nothing's happening. The boat's still going straight. Now, luckily, we know it's not going too fast, but it's definitely going to hit this rock. are there anything, any ideas we have? I'm like, come on, Venture Society, we can do this. Like, how can we help?
I can just jump into the river. I'm a good swimmer and pick the
of
turtle up
course.
in my mouth and just swim it to shore.
That seems like a great idea. So we know that you're a good swimmer, but let's do I guess it would be a heart roll to see if you pick him up
Okay.
and how that goes. Because he's asleep and you are a jaguar about to bite him.
Yeah, it could be
Hold him in your mouth.
traumatized.
That's true.
Just
that was
stay
a
asleep. Just
10.
stay asleep.
Okay, 10. Well, this is great. That's a
That's
venture,
the 10.
which means not only did you successfully
Adventure.
force jump out and swim. I mean, you might have, you're such a good jumper, you might have just jumped to the rock. Who knows, right?
Who knows?
Within what feels like a quarter of a second, the turtle's in your mouth and you are back on the edge of the ship like nothing's wrong. Like that's how great it is. The turtle wakes up and it's like, hello, and just kind of looking up like what's happening. And we're all like, oh, the ship was gonna hit you, but then the Amber got you, and then this happened, and like the turtle's like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. They're kind of like paralyzed, like they're kind of shrinking back in.
Oh,
No.
Yeah, they're just like they're freaked out.
I'm gonna offer to take them back to the rock once the boat has fully passed and just be like nothing ever happened.
Okay, yeah, that would be good. I like rocks. I like sunning myself in rocks. I like,
Taking naps in the sun, man.
yeah,
With you.
great. It's pretty great. Okay. All right, so like they kind of realize like, okay, something happened. They're kind of calming down. Wally seems to at least, been able to move it a little bit. I don't know what's going on with it, but he's got a little bit of an issue where he can kind of move it, but it's not moving all the way that he needs to. So we get past the rock. We're not even going to have you roll. You have no issue. You're going to obviously set them back. You're going to jump back on the boat. And by the time we get into the dock, the only issue we've got now is he can't turn the boat all the way to the dock. So we're not going to be able to dock right in like a normal boat. So Wally's like, well, I've got this rope and I can get us as close as we can. And, unless you want to take a dip or and he's making a joke, kind of like, hey, what do you want to do, kids? Like this. So there's tons of rope. There's a lightsaber, thing. There's all kinds of stuff there. We know Amber's not going to have an issue if you would have to jump to the dock, 4 to 6 feet. But the rest of us, I don't think are going to be able to make it on our own. I know I'm worried about it myself being very, very tiny. So, Wally's like, I'll see what I can do. I can get you in there. Maybe I can anchor and we can get another boat to come in. And he's just kind of talking out loud. So anyone have any ideas about how we can get over there and get to that dock?
Liz, question about pangolin. Are they as big as capybaras? Are they smaller? What's the size ratio?
They're slightly smaller. Their body size, I think, is cat sized. But then
Okay.
their tails are like 2 to 3 feet long. So they have really
Okay.
long prehensile tails.
Okay.
So I was, were you thinking animal chain?
Yeah, well, I was thinking I'm just a capybara, and the natural kind of like life of a capybara is creatures are on top of me and I'm in the water and I just am like a little water taxi. And I love the water anyway. And I like ratios are weird in Animal Land. So I think I'm much bigger than I originally was. So whoop. And am actual capybara size ready. Like I mean, I love the water and I know Rusty doesn't really like the water and I can carry, or like we can get down and I can do.
Yeah.
We could totally do like like an animal chain where it's Candy, maybe Amber, then Pie, then Rusty, then Heather.
And if Amber would take, kind of watch and make sure everything's okay in case I get into a current or something, that'd be really good. So that way we're safe just in case anything gets awry. But yeah.
This seems like a really good idea. And, I'm like watching and I'm like, okay, this could work. This could work. So why don't we all do a move roll? We're going to see how we do just by getting ourselves into the position. Just the first step on, like, do we immediately mess up or are we working okay? Let's see what we got.
8 for me.
8 over there. 2, 1. Okay, 1. We got to help.
7.
7. Okay. We did not move well. Okay, so we kind of go, we kind of swing back. Like, that's not gonna work as much. So
Splash, splash.
Candy's in the water, and we're all trying to make this work. And clearly us, like, that chain was just not working the way that we want. So so what we can maybe do is maybe do we want to try a different tactic? How do we want to do this, everybody? So, Candy's in the water, just kind of like, I'm ready. And everyone else is kind of thinking about, like,
literally in the water.
yeah, you're literally in the water, because we were like about to start doing this and it did not work.
I think, well, maybe maybe Rusty. Maybe it's kind of a psychological thing for Rusty. He's just kind of like, he just was not kind of doing this whole thing of like trying to step onto and then just like getting wet, and so he just kind of has to. He starts looking at the trash, maybe on it, or not trash, but like whatever detritus is in the water. Just thinking about like.
Hey, look, Rusty, there's some cool trash in here.
Yeah.
And I'll swim with you.
Yeah. Do you want to give it another go? Do you want to maybe do one at a time? And Rusty, you want to try to give it another go?
I'll do it. I'm
right,
ready.
like, do you need a focus roll, or I feel like you need a focus roll.
Yeah.
You can move. You can do this.
Got a 3.
3. Yes. So now you see some things that look like trash. It might just be pieces of wood and leaves, but it calms you. You hear we're crinkling the trash from lunch on the boat to kind of calm you. And this, again, it's only 4 to 6 feet away. So Candy, you're very familiar with swimming. I don't think you even need to roll. So you easily get over to the edge of the dock. Now we are down in the water, so there is a pole or a wooden pole, and then the top of the piers maybe like 2 to 3 feet above where you're standing. Yeah, so it's going to be potentially okay for you, Rusty, to get off here. And you're a pretty good climber, so I feel like you're going to be okay. Candy, we're going to have to figure this out once everybody else gets over there.
Help action. Well, I'm just going to motor around the water. It's a good swimming day.
All right, so Rusty, are you gonna go to the dock, or do you want to go?
Yeah, so I'd climb up that pole and maybe look. Well, I guess I'd look around, maybe start saying, say out loud, like, does anyone have any rope or any? My friend's in the water right now.
Yeah.
Help!
Safety situation. So I'm gonna volunteer to carry Heather and Pi on my back.
Okay.
And I'm going to get a coil of rope in my mouth, because I figure if I can swim over and climb up, I can put some of the rope down for Candy to bite, and then I can back up and pull Candy up that way.
Yeah, this seems very doable. All right, well, we know you can swim, and we know that you could carry our weight, probably no issue. But let's do a move roll to see if while you have a rope and 2 animals on you, and you're 76 feet, and you're trying to get Candy the rope, let's see how this works out.
Okay.
And can I assist, because with my prehensile tail and not being as scared of the water, like I'm more there for an extra pair of hands to do all this maneuvering.
Yeah, sure.
More than anything.
Yeah, so you can also give us a move roll and see how good you do. Yeah.
I got a 5. So just made it.
5. Both got a 5. Great.
Hey.
Yeah. So clearly, we've already determined Amber's pretty agile and graceful and does these things so great. So Rusty, you're like watching it all. I'm on there like, oh my God, this is just amazing. And you get them over to that dock, no problem. Like, everyone's on the dock, what feels like, again, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and we're already over there. You've got the rope and you're lowering it down to Candy. So Candy is definitely the tough spot here, because the capybara is not super small, and it is
Choices were made.
choices were made. Yeah. Um, so Candy, do you and Amber work together here? How do you work with this rope? And do you need more assistance than just Amber?
I think it's gonna be if not to say anything, but I'm kind of, a lot of me, and I loved a lot of me, but it might take a lot of you to help a lot of me. So if you could get assistance up there,
Yeah.
I think that might be good.
Definitely going to try and help in general. So I'm going
Yeah.
for a 1.
Yeah, I think we all probably will. I'll be helping, but I won't be rolling. I think we're all going to be doing this now. This is interesting, is I'm thinking this isn't, you're moving, but I almost feel like it's a focus roll, because you have to be thinking, we have to be all pulling on at the same time. And Russell, the 1, actually, you don't roll for a 1, you rolled it before, so you have a help token. This would be something that we physically given to you or tracked. So if at any time you do fail a roll, like this next roll, so they failed, you could somebody could narrate like how you didn't fail. So that's an option. So let's all do a focus roll and see if everyone's putting all of their might in, if they can pull a 2 or 3, or the top 4 of your die also works. No. Okay, so we got 2 yeses. Okay, 2 yeses. Well, we have a help token that we could use in place of Amber's. So we could, if you want, we could spend the help token, and then all of you would have succeeded. And basically, I'm, the only one who's really not pulling my weight. I am pulling my weight. This is not a lot of weight. So, we're going, and I'm the last, like I'm the farthest back, just like barely holding like a couple of strands. And then it's Rusty, then it's Pie, then it's Amber, of course, right in the front doing all of the hard work. Meanwhile, this is happening while he's like, see ya, like he's gone, like he's got a route to do. He can't wait for us, so it's like he seemed nice, and we're kind of like, hey, but so he's moved on. And just as I'm seeing him like honk and leave, we've hoisted you up.
Oh man, that was an adventure. Thank you, everyone. Oh gosh. It didn't work out quite how it did in my mind, but we're all here, and I'm really excited about that.
Yes. How are the snacks?
Oh, they're totally fine. They're on my back, protected the entire time. That was the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, precious cargo. I get it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So everyone's back. I see the big office sign that says, outpost for Riverdale, and it's completely shut down, and there's just like a little mail slot. Do we just leave the posters there with a note, or do we ask around to see what's going on here? And I'm kind of looking at my map and my watch, like, we kind of got to get going. That set us back a little bit.
I was gonna peer through the windows and just explore to try and find if there's anything, like, is it back in 5 minutes because they're at lunch, or what's going on?
Yeah.
Maybe start like asking random people on the street, like, do you know when this is going to open again?
Yeah, that sounds good. I think, as a talker, you're probably no issue there. You're asking people, 2 or 3 people are like, I have no idea what's happening. And then one guy's like, oh, I don't even know if I don't even know if that opened today. Maybe they're closed today. And they're kind of like, but they're not sure. They're kind of just like, I haven't seen anywhere there all day. So you're basically not getting any answers that way. If anyone would like, or you would like to peer in and you want to see if you can get any kind of clues, you could do that, but you're not getting anyone on the dock, just doesn't seem to know what's going on.
Yeah, definitely want to look in a window.
Okay. Yeah, do it. Yeah, I think that would probably be a focus roll. See if you see anything in there.
It was a 10.
Well, that's good, because a 10 is the crown, which means
cool.
Yeah, you do. I mean, jaguars have pretty good eyesight, I'm going to assume. So, and you're going to be able to be up high enough to see in those windows, which also is very helpful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So no issue. Again, like we screaming venture because we're like, yes, like Amber did it. So all of us are like little, like, yay, like doing that. And I'm like, look around. Do you see anything? Is there like, do you see like, is the computer on? Is this, and I'm asking all these questions and it looks completely shut down. Like it looks like no one was in there all day, but there's papers and there's like, stuff around, like it's not out of business, but it just looks like it wasn't open today from what you can tell. So you report back, it looks closed. There's nothing moving around. It just kind of looks like it's locked up for the day. So I'm making a note, kind of like scribbling a note, and I'm like, I guess our best bet is put them in this mail slot and then, maybe let one of the other neighbors know that we did, in case they come back. I'm scribbling a note like to put in with the posters as well. So, and
Should
like,
we put one of the posters on like the front door? So like,
yeah,
you automatically get advertising that way.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. I don't know how we could stick it to the door if anyone has anything.
Trash time.
Is there any chewy candy, any gum?
Gum wrapper? Do we have any rubber bands? Do we have any tape?
I mean, I think, yeah, it's just Rusty is just going through and like,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
should I guess the question is, should I roll? Or I guess he's good at trash, right?
I
Yes.
don't think you need to roll for this. I feel like you know how to look through trash.
There's been a ball of
You're
gum
pretty good. Yeah.
that he's been like, it's kind of like the sort of thing that like he definitely was, it's kind of just like, well, you can't eat this because he doesn't, and so, but I mean, this is just, and he kind of like pulls it apart some and then is just like, we can maybe
Sure. All right. Well, we found some gum. We put it
I
on
love
the
it.
poster. I feel like everyone, with Amber being tall enough to get the top two, and everybody I can help down here, it's up there. I scribbled my note. Let's say Pi threw it in the mail slot, and we used some of the gum left over, and Candy and Rusty go over to the neighbors and ask them if they can put this up on their window and let them know that we left the posters over next door, if you don't mind doing that. Okay.
Mhm.
This will totally not make the Rivervale outpost mad at us.
Nope. It's
Nope.
gonna be fine. Yeah. I think it's gonna be fine. Like I'm just telling myself, like, oh my God.
Make a little parcel of like non-perishable snacks into the mailbox. It doesn't quite fit all the way through. It's kind of just holding. Well, maybe they won't be mad with snack. Nobody can be mad with a snack.
I know that is true. That is true. All right. Well, come on, venturers. We've got two more stops. I'll make a call in the morning and I'll make sure that they know that we left those there. So we're back up on the road now from Rivervale. It's again one of these 10-15-minute walks up to the Twilight Peaks area. And there's a lot of very high, large mountains there that even have snow on the top. But luckily, their outpost is right along the side of the road. We don't have to deal with any like super cold weather or anything. It's fall, it's nice weather. So we don't have to deal with anything like that, because otherwise I would not be going up that mountain with some new adventurers. No, that's not going to be happening. So we're moving along. Nothing much to see there, except for you can clearly go see that the change in landscape. It's going much more rocky. The trees are becoming pine trees and all of those kind of things. And many of you maybe haven't been up there before, haven't experienced that. Some of you are more warm weather animals. So this is a new little venture for you, but luckily it's the height of the afternoon and it's as warm as it's going to be. So we get up there and I think we've got 2 stacks of posters left. There's the outpost, and I'm kind of actually getting chilly because I don't have a lot of fur. So I'm like asking, hey, you got that nap pad around handy? Amber, I think I might just want to take a little warm while you go in and deliver the posters, if you don't mind. So I'm going to be in the little nap pad outside, and I hand you the posters to go into this outpost.
We got it's like the little things that fruits come in for
Yeah.
like like a little hamster.
Yeah. Nice. All right, so you go in, and first thing you see, of course, is there's a table, a desk, and a table, and there's a billy goat in a uniform just standing next to the table, and he just nods at you.
Pi is going to go up to them in a very outgoing manner and say, "Hi, I'm Pi. We have posters for you." That was
Oh, good, you brought it, and takes the posters right from you and just starts chewing on one. Just starts.
Hey, you can't do that. I
Hi.
made that.
Why not? This is my lunch. Someone said
Oh.
my lunch is being delivered.
My time has come. And then,
So
hi, I'm Candy. I have the lunch, and those are the posters to put up for information. I know it looks very similar to lunch because sometimes things look, sometimes we make food to look like food and make food to look like real life things. But here, and then
Oh.
dig,
Oh.
is a variety. Like, and now I got a kind of crudité platter out, and it's like all different little like vegetables, and like there's like a fancy carrot flour. Still
Wait
don't
a
know how
minute.
Candy does this.
Yeah.
Can Rusty assist with his trash?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Rusty. Wait, hold on. We need to put cherry on top or a trash on top. Yeah.
And then so he's definitely digging through and finds it's kind of like a smattering of shredded paper, and
Did
then
you
he kind of just like
salt style?
yeah just
Salt
Like shredded cheese on top of paper. Nice.
Here you go.
Wow, like he's like, whoa, this is such a better lunch than I could have ever imagined. This is a feast. And he's like, I'm sorry, this looked like my lunch, and just kind of puts them down. The ones.
Oh, that's not a problem. It's okay. It was only. And then, like, can I borrow some of your tape? Do you have tape I can borrow?
Oh, yeah, we look in the drawer, and he kind of like nudges it open and just kind of rolls you a thing of tape. It's now
Okay.
there.
And then I will start reassembling the one poster that has a little nibble. It has character now.
Yeah, it has character. Okay, so you want me to put these posters up around this town, around my town, and that's what you're saying? Oh, okay. Yeah, I could probably do that. And then he's kind of like thinking, like he's got hooves and stuff, and he's like, how would I?
Hmm.
And he's like trying to figure out how he can hold them. So he's like, I know. I'll call my best friend, and he calls his friend, who's a bear, and the bear comes in and is like, oh, I've got this, and just like picks all of them up and is like, I'll go back on my way back home. I'll take these up. So this goat is chowing down on lunch. The bear's taking the posters. I think a little bit this goat was like, hey, I kind of want to eat more lunch than handle these posters. So yeah, so easy enough. Thank you, children. This is great, and also great lunch, Candy. You should be a caterer.
My deepest desire, you found it. Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm just glowing. It's like that is exactly like
yeah, jumping out. So I'm just kind of hanging out, taking a little respite while you're in there. I have no idea what's going on. How'd it go with everything? How's Billy doing in there?
We ate some paper.
Oh.
I think crudités.
Yeah. Oh, good. So you've had a snack. Yeah. Do you have a snack from like a very hamster-sized snack? Maybe like a pellet or two, a couple of food pellets, or
the basket is definitely getting lower. I'm about to run out of the magic basket, but I do have like a nice little. It's in a little ceramic bowl. Has a little chip on it for character, and there you go.
It's like, well, I don't know about you all, but I feel very renewed now. I'm very awake and very excited. We're off to the forest. Sherwood Forest is our last stop. And not even 3 o'clock yet. This is great. So so we have a couple of options here, and you know, even though it's only 3, just for fun, you know, it's your first adventure. um I have a friend up here that has a hot air balloon, and we could take a little trip on that hot air balloon, unless people are afraid of heights. I don't know how you're feeling about that, but it is kind of beautiful up there, and you get to see all of the lands at once.
The landscape helps with the appetite.
Yes. Everybody,
Pie is all
everybody
in
up for
on
this?
this. Yes.
Okay, we're up for this. All right, so we go down a little side road. Next thing you know, you're in a big open field, and there's a hot air balloon with a little owl with like little goggles on, and they are the pilot of the hot air balloon. So their name's Sophie, and they're just so excited to have people here, because you know, not all the time, they don't get somebody every day. You know, not everybody's a hot air balloon type person. Usually they like the safety of the boats or the carts or the bicycles, and so Sophie's very excited. And Sophie also used to be a Venture Society member, so they're very excited that this is your first adventure and they get to be part of it. So Sophie brings you all in, make sure, okay, we got all of our items, keep all of your items and all of your limbs inside the basket at all times. Okay, we are going to be very high up in the air. If you are scared of heights, and don't look down, just look out. It's better. There's going to also be this loud whoosh sound, and a fire is going to go up into this. That could be a little frightening the first time you hear that. So just be aware, that's how we get the air into the balloon, and everything's okay. So don't be alarmed by the fire. So she's going through all of the thing, and you know, Candy, you've got this basket there. It's kind of similar to the basket we're in. So, you know, it's kind of this like beautiful, majestic moment. We're maybe 10-15 feet out of off the ground now. Next thing you know, we're above the trees. We can see the clouds by the mountains. We can see a waterfall going into one of the rivers. Like, it's really, really pretty. And while we're doing this, I'm kind of quizzing you all, like, okay, point out Oasis City. Where's Oasis City? Okay, good job. Who can see Venture Village? Can you see your house from here? Anyone can see their house from here? A little too far away, maybe.
See my tree.
Oh, you can see your tree.
Big tree.
Awesome. I can't see my house because it's a borough, but I can see the Venture Society building.
The dump.
The dump. Nice. So you know, we're going through. It's a very short trip. Sophie's like, you know, puts the goggles on. It's like, okay, we're coming in for a landing now, and you know, basically just pulls a little thing so that you start coming down. Very, very excited that that you're all in there, and basically gives you all a little hot air balloon pin as a reward for being, this is your first adventure and you were on the hot air balloon. And they're very excited, and there's like, anytime you want to come back here with your friends or your family, I'll take you on a short trip.
Thank you so much.
This is the best first adventure ever.
Well, all right, children, we've got one more stop, and this one should be easy. It's on the way home. We're almost there. So we're in Sherwood, and we need to find, we either need to find, if we can find the mayor, great. But if not, anyone in the mayor's office would do. We just need to get to the center of the town, which maybe you've been here before, but you know, as you may have heard, everyone here lives in the trees. Or in caves. So what we're looking for is the big center of town with the big office in the bottom of the tree. So you can't miss it. It's right in the middle of town. So I'm telling you, this is as we go through, and you know, more and more trees have little windows in them. You're seeing little like laundry lines hanging off of things, you know, as we're getting closer to the center of town. We don't see any kind of like other bigger buildings, any kind of center at town or anything like that. But you know, you're seeing birds, and like you're seeing deer and things kind of like hanging around, and they're kind of like nodding or like waving, like hi, and that's it. All of a sudden though, there's like a huge shriek, and like a thud. And you're like, what was that? And sometimes you hear an acorn, but this was not just an acorn falling. This was like a thud, like a rock fell, or someone fell out of a tree over to our right off of the path. What do we want to investigate? Are we scared?
What was that? Let's go find out.
Okay.
Somebody could be hurt. You need
Oh
to.
goodness, I hope nobody's hurt. Let's go.
Okay, so
Giant
right behind that name.
I'd like a giant acorn.
Yes. You could eat it. Right behind the tree, right out of our sight, there's a toad, and she's moaning with pain. She's kind of like going like this. And she's just like, oh my God, moaning. And there is a pretty large acorn right next to them.
Oh no, we were both right. You're gonna go over to the person and it's like, can you hear me? Are you okay? Can you feel your extremities?
Yeah. I guess I'm okay, but I got hit really bad.
Oh no, you might want to not try and sit up for a
This
second.
bump's usually there, but this bump's not usually there.
Oh,
So
it's two bumps.
this bump's not usually there.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I was just sitting here, minding my own business, and then thud, something hit me in the head, and I don't know what it was. Meanwhile, yeah. Good.
Oh, are you holding up the acorn, Rusty?
I think it was this.
Wow. Well, that's some acorn. Yeah, that would do it. It's definitely bigger than me. Yeah. So the toad, she looks up and she can't even believe it's that big. She's just in shock that it was that large. Just as this is happening, you can kind of hear a bunch of what sounds like kids kind of screaming and kind of laughing, not too far away. And you can kind of see a squirrel just kind of running around over there. And that squirrel looks like they maybe had like a red or a green bandana on, kind of like some of the Venture Society leaders have. So you quickly see that out of the corner of your eye, a few of you. So you've got that potentially, or we can try to see what we can do for Mrs. Toad, or both. We can split up if you want.
I'd like to stay with Mrs. Toad. And I've never been here before, but do towns generally have like a first aid? Like from the lore of the world, is there like a first aid station, emergency room that we could walk or do to have actual professional help on?
Yeah. No, basically it's kind of like our modern world, except for like we don't show them like the very modern art, like, oh, here's an iPad and here's a video game, but like if that existed, it's fine. Yes. So it's all of the standard stuff. So yes, if you would like to take her to an emergency room or urgent care or a doctor's office, yes, that's available.
Yeah. I'd like to, I know we're on a mission, guys, but I'd like to take her and maybe meet up if you guys want to do other things or have to do that first since we're on a timeline. But I think I'm going to walk Mrs. Toad because concussions are serious things.
I'm going to offer you my nap pad to be like, do you want to hold this over your heads in case other acorns fall? And I'm going to go find somebody to report this serious safety incident to.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. I think that's a great idea. So
Acorn is evidence.
Officer, I have an acorn.
Does this fit in your basket? It's like this big.
Spears.
All right. So you're planning to put Miss Toad on your back? Okay. Now she seems, conscious-ish right now. I think it'll be fine if we kind of work together to put her up there. Who feels like the most comfortable picking up the toad and putting them on Candy? It's not me. I'm too tiny.
I think maybe would this be like a move, or maybe like Rusty, they like navigate to a place where Rusty can actually like help kind of act as a hoist or something. So he's like hanging from his tail right now and is kind of just like And
Are you going to be like a crane? It's like
Yeah,
we
he's
find a
mimicking that
branch.
noise. He's like,
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. Okay. All right. I like that. So you want to be a crane. Yeah. And I think even though you can move, I still think maybe we want you to do a move roll just to see if you can accurately do this. And it's a very fragile cargo. So
Rusty has definitely never been a crane before, so he's seen a crane, many types of cranes, in fact. Best friend is a crane. I got a 4.
okay, you got a 4. Great. And I feel like Pi and Amber are overseeing this mission as well. Like you're being the crane, but they're there just in case something happens. But luckily, everyone kind of takes a deep breath and a sigh of relief when Mrs. Toad is safely on Candy's back. No issue there. Rusty's like, I knew I could do it, and everyone else is like, yeah, wait, no, I'm just kidding.
Like,
I'm joking.
Deep relief.
Deep relief. Okay. So, all right, Candy, just keep following this path. There'll be a clearing with a circle of trees. That's the center of town. That's where the doctor's office is. And we'll meet you there as soon as we drop everything off.
Sounds good.
Go with Candy, or are we going to continue on? No. Okay. Bye,
I think,
Candy.
yeah,
Okay.
Pi would keep exploring in some way. Yeah.
Great. Well, we've got these posters. I was hoping, I know I recognized that squirrel. They looked like they were a Venture Society member, but now I can't find them. So we decide we're going to go into the center of town. Amber wants to report something. We want to find the mayor's office or the other Venture Society office and see what we can do.
Mayor sounds like a good person to report.
Yeah, seems
It's
good.
a safety concern too.
It's definitely a safety concern. These acorns, they need to be harvested. This is not safe.
No.
I mean, I'm only slightly bigger than a chipmunk. I mean, what if a chipmunk would get hit? What if there's so many things, bird, anyone could get hit, so they're kind of, I'm Heather's kind of starting to like see the safety implications. Like this is a major problem. As we go in, we're getting a little bit closer, Candy's ahead. We can actually see Candy kind of making it to the edge of town, and we're slightly behind. And all of a sudden we see these group of squirrels again, kind of off to the side. And all of a sudden, we hear the thud again, but it's not quite as loud. And this time, one of the squirrels comes over and is like, oh, sorry. Thought I threw them this way. Oh, here it is. It picks up like a regular size, like maybe this size acorn, right? And just kind of like holds it and kind of runs back. And
Pi is going to yell after them,
Yeah.
like, hey, you Venture Scouts, you got to be careful. And just try and start a conversation with them.
Yeah, sure. So they kind of turn around like, oh, us? Yeah. We're just having a catch. We're just throwing around acorns. We're just hi. What are you doing? Who are you? And
One of your acorns just hit Mrs. Toad, and now she's concussed.
What? We weren't even anywhere near Mrs. Toad's house. We love Mrs. Toad. We wouldn't do that. Yeah, and then as this one's talking to you, another squirrel comes over. It's like, hey man, what are you doing? Like, we're supposed to be having a catch here. And so they're completely like in their own world. Just kind of like don't possibly think it could be them. And
hold up the acorn, Rusty. Show the evidence.
Whoa, that's a really big acorn. So the first one you're talking to is like, oh, that's an awesome acorn. That's a really big acorn. Second one goes, uh-oh. And they're like, yeah, we found that acorn and we thought it was a really cool acorn. So we were like, what if we threw it off of a tree branch to see if it break? And we heard a thud, but then the thud was so loud that we ran away because we thought we were going to get into trouble.
Amber's just shaking their head. It's like, this is why safety zones are important. If you were going to be playing with dangerous objects, such as throwing something larger than the size of some of your citizens off of a tree branch, This needs to be in a regulated zone.
Yeah.
Pirate Rocket kind of pats Amber on the side and tries to dial it down a bit. We know it was an accident, but you hurt somebody and you got to take responsibility.
Yeah, I feel really bad because I love Mrs. Toad, and like Christmas, she always makes us cookies and brings them to us, and I didn't want to get her to get hurt. So the other squirrel's like, "Yeah, man, I told you we shouldn't have done it. I told you we shouldn't have done it." And they're kind of doing this whole thing. Well, I don't know, what can we do? Like, where is she? Is she okay? Like,
And Candy had taken her to the infirmary, so maybe going and checking and making sure she's okay.
Yeah, that
You
seems
should
like a good
definitely
idea.
go apologize.
Yeah, that seems like a really good idea. And it kind of screams back, "Sorry guys, I can't play anymore." Like it does all that. Okay, well, do you mind if I walk with you? And like go see Mrs. Toad? Is that okay?
I can take them.
Okay.
Yeah. And
All
they'll catch up with Candy.
With Candy. Okay. So you're gonna take them. They're gonna apologize. The other one was like, "Thank you for, coming over and like diffusing that." I don't know if I would have had like the courage to say that to my best friend. So thanks for kind of doing that. And this is the one where, we kind of turns around, has the little patch kind of like hidden back here. They're the Venture Society member. So they're like, I know I should have said something, but he's my best friend for forever, and I didn't want him to not like me. And now I'm the only one that's of the squirrels that's in the Venture Society. So like they always think I'm yelling at them, but like I probably should have yelled at them about this.
Don't always have to yell, but I think influencing them toward playing more safely would have been the responsible thing to do.
Could have come up with another thing to do with that giant acorn. It was really cool, but like, it wasn't a good idea. So kind of, yeah, go ahead.
And even when my trash becomes our trash, we have to be responsible for where the trash goes.
Yeah, I get it. I hear what you're saying. And then he's like, "Oh, by the way, my name's Ace. I'm in the Venture Society. I don't know if it's my first year. I don't know how long you guys have been in. You guys are like clearly pros at this, and I'm
3
new."
hours.
3 hours. This is new too. I'm new too.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hopefully next time, maybe at one of the festivals or one of the jamborees, it'll be on, better circumstances.
Festivals, we're here to deliver posters about our festival.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, do you know where the mayor's house is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, my great uncle is my great uncle is the mayor. Yeah. So let's see. And he's kind of like hyperly looking around. He's like, yeah, it's that one right there. So there's the hospital. So that's okay, that's the hospital. Right in here, and kind of points you to like 2 doors down from the hospital in the center of town. So that's the mayor's office. And Ace is just like, "Wow, this festival sounds good." And so it's kind of like looking over the posters and like, "Are there games there?" They're like, "Prizes," and there's like rides. Oh my god, this sounds so cool. So like they're like getting really excited about it. They're like, "Can I
It's gonna be an egg drop.
an egg
So-
drop?"
Yeah.
Whoa. Is that like an acorn drop though? Because that we better be careful, right?
Mm-hmm,
You have that safety zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right. I don't know if I could handle that again. So like, can I take one of these for my venture building, for my venture lab? Okay, cool. So like, "Thank you. I'm sorry." And, kind of walking away sheepishly, like, "Bye, sorry." All right. So you've got the mayor's office there. Rusty and Amber, you've got the last of the posters. If you don't mind taking it in, I'll escort you and I can introduce you to the mayor.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So we go in, and there's a secretary's kind of desks on a person there working with a lot of papers. And I'm like, oh, hi, is the mayor in? We've got the posters for the big summer festival over in Venture Village. And she's like, yeah, just put them here. Just put them here. Not paying any attention to us or anything. It's like, well, I was kind of hoping I could get my new Venture Scouts to meet the mayor while we're here. And she's not paying any attention to us. She's just like, just leave them there. Just leave them there. And I'm like, but maybe.
I think maybe.
And I'm bigger, so I'm just gonna be like, excuse me, our guide has a question. And I'm just gonna like,
yeah,
if I get Heather on my head or something.
yeah, sounds good. So she's gonna be like, hi, sorry, I guess I didn't realize you were with the Venture Society. What are these again? What is this paper again? And kind of like looking around where we put them on the desk as not paying any attention. So then I'm like, hi, we've met before. Heather, Venture Society, Venture Village. Right. Yes. These are some new ventures, and I'd like them to meet the mayor while we're in town. Can we work that out? Is he in a meeting, or is he busy, or what can we do? So she's like, oh yeah, I think he's just finishing up with a client in there. Let me see. And kind of like goes in and checks. And then this giant for a squirrel, comes out and very nicely like greets each of you and shakes your paws or your hands, and says that they're very excited that you're new members, and they hope that you are constantly doing good around your community. Now, I didn't say anything yet to the mayor, but I'm kind of wondering. I'm kind of like looking around, like, should I say something now? Is this still a happy moment? So I'm kind of like, yes, okay, they're shaking hands. Oh, he's pointing out to the map of the village to you. And I'm just kind of trying to like, no. And then finally there's a lull in conversation. I'm like, well, Mr. Mayor, we have this issue we'd like to bring to your attention. I think everything's okay now, hopefully, but there's a major safety issue going on out in the far end of the acorn issue. It's an acorn issue. Like, have you seen how big these acorns are getting? And he's like, yeah, no, we harvest all the big ones. I mean, we take care of that. It's like, well, maybe not. We just had a run in here with a very large acorn, and it hit Mrs. Toad on the head, and she's actually in the infirmary right now.
Rusty, show him the acorn. It's really big.
And even though he's a big squirrel, he's like, whoa, this is a really big acorn, So he's like, oh, this can't do. And kind of, hey, jot this down. We've got to do this thing. Kind of writes down a whole little thing. We've got to fix this. And where on the map is it? Which tree was it? Kind of, this is Mrs. Toad's house, and kind of asking us where everything would be. And we kind of circled the area. Like, it was in this area. I think you should check the whole area though. But this area definitely is not good. Then he's like, yeah, it sounds good. I'm like, yeah, your great nephew, Ace was actually out there. So you might want to ask him a little bit more about it. He's like, oh, okay. You've delivered the papers. We got to go check on Mrs. Toad though. We've got to make sure everything's okay. So I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, sorry, Mr. Mayor, we've got to go. We got to check in with Mrs. Toad. And then I've got to get these kids back before sundown. So we say our pleasantries, we go back out, head over to the infirmary. And we're like, is there Mrs. Toad? Has Mrs. Toad been admitted? Like, I go up to the desk. And right as I'm asking, we see Candy. We see you sitting in the waiting room.
Holding her hands. Like, yeah, I mean, bug protein is fantastic. It's one of these new, really great resources that we can get into. You can make pancakes. I'd love to share recipes with you. We've been talking food this entire time.
Nice. You're keeping her awake so she doesn't fall asleep. Great idea. Now, I don't see Ace here. Did a young squirrel come by, Candy? Have you seen a young squirrel?
I want to say, as you say that, it feels the right moment for our young squirrel to have entered, kind of maybe dragging their feet a little bit at the kind of maybe didn't want to go into. So we can now all have regrouped
Yep.
because Pie's there. Pie was escorting, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
Pi was escorting them, and like Pi is going to try to assist Ace and like get them through the awkwardness of apologizing, but also make sure they follow through. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sounds good. We know that you're a good talker, but why don't you give us a words roll to see what kind of like epic pep talk you've given Ace along the walk to get Ace ready to. So that maybe didn't make him go, totally ready to do everything right that moment, and got a little nervous along the way. It sounded like maybe
Yeah, like
needed
maybe we kind of got off topic. We started like comparing Pokemon cards or something like that instead of what we were actually there to do.
Yeah, right. It just didn't quite go as planned, and Ace almost started forgetting about the incident. And by the time they got into town and saw that the hospital infirmary, they were like, oh, and they kind of hit them again, like the reverence of what just happened. So when they came in, they were kind of like a little shocked, it seemed like. So maybe Pi, do you want to say something to them again before now? Like now that you're kind of back to like non-Pokemon talk and non talk about toys, and see if maybe you can encourage them to
Yeah.
to be brave.
It's okay, Ace. You said Mrs. Toad was your friend. She'll understand.
Yeah, I mean, she's really nice. She's really nice, but like I don't know. I just feel like so bad about it because I could have stopped it, and like what, it's my fault, but it's like I don't know what to do. What do I say?
But it's not too late. If you say something now, it won't get any worse. It'll only get better.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, I have to say sorry, obviously, but I don't know what else to say. So I think I'm just gonna start with saying sorry. Is that okay?
That's a great place to start.
Okay. Okay. So Candy and Mrs. Toad are in deep conversation about bug protein. And Ace kind of like shuffles over and like stands like right in between the two of you, and is like, Mrs. Toad, it's me, Ace. Can you hear me? And then Mrs. Toad's like, yes. Is that you, Ace? And he's like, yeah. I'm real sorry that Acorn hit you. Um, Me and my friends didn't mean to hit anybody when the acorn was dropped. Sorry. Kind of like sheepishly does one of these little things. And Mrs. Toad's like, oh, it's okay. I know you didn't mean to hit me, but you've got to be more careful with something that at any acorn size, honestly, but that size is way too big, and honestly really could have hurt me way worse. Luckily Candy here has been keeping my mind off of the pain, and I do feel a lot better than when I got hit. And Ace is just like, okay, well, all right, do you need anything? Do you want me to get you anything, like ice or like a couple flies, anything? You need anything? And Mrs. Toad's like, no, I've got Candy had me covered. I've already eaten. I've had some water. Yeah, you've had an array of things. And Ace just goes, okay, well, you know what? I'll come by. Maybe next week I'll come by and just make sure that like nothing else got damaged at your house. And he's kind of like shuffling his feet. And she's like, yeah, that sounds good.
I
So
think Pi would maybe give him a little nudge
yeah,
and like say, go sit with her. So
yeah,
that with the intention that like Ace could take over minding Mrs. Toad so Candy can
yeah. Good call. Good call. Yeah. So I think Ace is like, oh, unless you want me to wait with you, like after you went like this like 2 times. And Mrs. Toad like, oh yeah, that'd be very nice. So Candy, Ace is like, do I need to
Yeah, no, all you have to do with a concussed person is you just talk to them and make sure that they're aware and here, and then the doctor will come and everything will be okay. So thank
Okay.
you so much for sitting with her. And Mrs. Toad, it has been a pleasure. Your wealth of knowledge in bug protein is next to none. We're gonna have to keep an email chain together.
Awesome. So Ace is like, okay, yeah, so let's talk about maybe not acorns. Let's talk about sports. And so like as you're kind of walking out, you hear like a little conversation going, and we've gotten that all together. We've gotten everything together. And as we're walking back the last 10-15 minutes, just really proud of everybody today. We had a lot of things not quite go our way, but we not only did we get all of our directives done and got all the posters out, I feel like we helped a lot of people today, and we kind of maybe made some new friends, which is even more awesome. So that's what this is all about, and I just hope that this adventure makes you excited about doing this every week. So
Venture, venture.
like
Victor!
walk to the
Venture!
sunset, we venture, jump in the air, and yeah, Finn.
Fade to black.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so much
basically
fun.
Adventure Village, and I mean, this is even one of the longer adventures, but I knew we had time to do it. So they're typically like 30 to 45 minutes, and this was only slightly longer. So it's definitely a quick thing that you can do, and you can also change the number of incidents if you needed to go shorter or longer. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So I was going like now that we're kind of in the discussion part, we
Yeah.
finished. Thank you so much for leading us through, and thank you all our ventures for being here on this adventure with us. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. But I'd like to go into that section because it felt like each of those locations was its own unique kind of potential problem, and so like you said, can narrow and widen in scope.
Yep, 100%. Like the idea with this part of a campaign that's in there called the Summer Festival, where there's a bunch of different adventures about the Summer Festival. And this one, basically, you could choose just going to one location, or you could make it like maybe two, maybe all three, maybe one, you just drop them off. So we basically have it that it'd be up to the person running it, the guide, as we call it, instead of the GM. So again, specifically, it could be, okay, we don't need to go through all this, or we don't have time to, or you know what, they breeze through, and now we're going to take a little longer time, maybe with Mrs. Toad, or a little longer time with Wally on the boat, kind of thing. So it kind of, as you can see, it's very narrative based. I mean, there's rolling, but it's more about the imagination and getting into the world, and like just talking through what we're going to do is definitely more of the focus of the game, for sure. So.
And during it, I love how you GM'd it, and I was wondering kind of back end, like there's several parts where I could really see the social, emotional kind of learning of your modeling behaviors. You're giving us a chance to deal with various issues and go into them and solve them. And you gave us plenty of opportunity to decide how we wanted to solve them in various ways, but also connected to kind of to our own story arcs as well. Like, Amber's obviously strong at jumping, so you gave that a point. I love feeding, so you gave, a hungry billy goat. So can you talk more about the mechanics?
What's hilarious is the billy goat was already in here, and the turtle asleep on the rock was already there. And when you were like, I'm going to jump, I was like, great. And then you were like, oh, I have lunch. I'm like, this is amazing, because that's already what the written adventure is. Like, it's not just a random NPC. Like, the NPC is a billy goat that eats the food, and the NPC, the other one, is a turtle asleep on the rock that you're trying to wake up or help in some way. So it's funny that those just worked out really, really well. And the fact that even the snake, who was scared of noises, you guys had a chill option for them. Yeah. So it was, it just so happened that this worked out very, very well. But yeah, so so first of all, the modeling behavior 100% is a thing that we like say to do. And the style, like, I'm definitely not like a pro GM that's been doing this for forever. I probably only GM'd like 10 or 12 times ever, and most of it's Adventure Society. But it's like being able to kind of go in and out and be like, okay, we're kind of out of game now, we're back in game, and just doing just enough to get the world in. And it helps when we do the beginning part, where it's like, okay, how did you guys meet each other? What do you do? Where are we going? And it's like, oh, I'm big, I'm small. Like the more that you're buying into what you are and how we're all interacting, it just kind of sets it really, really well. So we found that it's not just kids, anyone needs 10-15 minutes to kind of feel your character out. What's the world like? So
Most
doing
definitely.
that just kind of gets us where we need to be so that by the time the issue happens, they're like, oh, right. Yeah, I love trash. I am strong. I do have snacks with me, actually, So, but it's a simple way of being like, if you never like Liz, Pi barely used their foraging bag, but it didn't matter because you had other things. You were a talker, right? But other people, you were like, oh, I know what I have. I can rely on my items. So when you make your character without doing too much, you can kind of rely back on that, especially on a kid that doesn't want to remember a whole chart of things. They can say, I have a trash picker upper and I love trash. And that's all they need to know, right?
And I think this is particularly brilliant for libraries because some of the Russell and everyone else, we have a lot of ttrpg interest within the library community, but one of the big things is the terror, the intimidation of the bigger rule sets, the big box sets, the ones that are like, you have to read like an entire encyclopedia, which is great for some people, but for librarians who have very short amounts of time to get into a program to teach, sometimes we only see one person once a month, once a week. So how do we get an experience for them? And I think this really speaks to how, like, we just learned this today. I knew nothing. I was like, okay, I'm ready to play as a woodland creature and ready to go. And then we're in it. So I love how quick. And can you speak on the GMing? Because you said you're only a new GM, but that's great because that's kind of the experience we want to know for our librarians. They're very new GMs.
So the two things, first of all, like we've modeled the product of this game. So it is a boxed RPG is like the game, but you can just get the book as that will be an available option. But the idea is it's kind of modeled for someone who's new to GMing or doesn't want to do the work of reading an entire book, right? So it comes with a almost like a calendar style spiral book where the image of the adventure is looking at the players, and there's a page behind that's like information about but story with some GM tips. All through the book, there's tips. We've got Rickety the RPG raccoon, which will be giving you GM and RPG tips. There's Education Elephant, which will be giving you educational type of things and ways you can put your lesson plan in or modify it for big groups or all these things. And then there's a Therapy Turtle who will be putting in therapy notes about how to use the social emotional learning or how to change things if there's an issue or, with a certain topic, or how to, do a one-on-one session. So there's these little like tips as you're going through. And basically the idea is we're going to help you and give you the tools to fill in the blanks. Like when you did something, I'm just coming up with it, which unless you're experiencing a GM, you don't realize you do have to kind of roll with what people are saying. But if you work with kids or teens, you're probably used to having to roll with whatever thing they're coming up with, right? So it's not too far off from being a parent or a teacher or a librarian or a camp counselor. It just gets intimidating when you say run D&D and do this big thing. So in this case, it's like we really, tried to bring it down to like, if you didn't want to read anything, you could pull pre-gens and pull an adventure and it would have tips on how to do that. And you could just start.
Also, it just it's pretty obvious that that sort of structured, unstructured play, and then also just the trope of a bunch of critters, going on an adventure is pretty consistent and so accessible. Like I'm just imagining like you get a crew of kids hanging around the library or in a school library or in a school classroom. And they would that was one of the things I just want to emphasize, because that was just such an awesome sort of playtest component that you talked about, was the taking away the D4 as far as just like that accessibility component. I thought that was really just a cool example as far as, the obvious playtest sort of component to this, figuring out like what is useful.
And it helped that the team is 2 therapists, a teacher, and myself. So the therapist had a lot. They do RPGs in their therapy sessions, and they've had a lot of kids either like on the spectrum or with like physical handicaps. And the D4 is not easy to roll or understand. Like, is it a top number? Is it this number? Is it this? You know,
Mhm.
we took a lot of what their feedback was on using existing games and made sure we covered for that. Like, we have a nonverbal deck in there of actions. So if you don't want to say the thing, even if you can speak, but you're nervous, you can be like, jump, you know, you can hit the card that says jump or something like that.
Mm.
You know, so we've got extra things like that. And then for the teacher, it's, oh, how can I slot a lesson plan in? So instead of it being, we're going to make a poster, maybe we're going to do something that's a little bit more spelling related, or maybe we're going to do geometry in that. You know,
That
maybe
was awesome.
everybody make this, right? So we've got all these like things that can be slotted out. And
That's
also,
clever. Yeah.
yeah. And if it's like, okay, well, maybe not everybody could play a character, but maybe think of your character in the morning and then tell us about your character in the afternoon session. Or this time, you know, this row is going to be Russ, you know, what kind of animal are you this row? What are we doing? Or just, you're not an animal. How do you solve this problem? There's this bad snake or something, scared snake, you know, how do you take, so basically there's that. Something that we came up with at ALA actually when we were at the show in June was, as we were running character creation there, and the teacher on the team, Aaron Gilbert, realized that if we just had a prompt deck of 3 things, we could start an adventure. So we were doing that there just kind of on the fly. Now that's going to be in the game. So basically it's going to be an issue, like there's a sad duck in a pond or at a house and there's a storm, whatever it is. You pick 3 things and then that is where you create your adventure. And that could be something you could just do like in a morning session or as a thought exercise, you know, or something like that. So there's a lot of uses for this for sure. And many parents have been already reaching out to me about the Kickstarter, saying that they're just excited that it has 22 adventures with it already. Plus we're hoping to add some more. So you don't even have to use these adventure prompts if you don't want to, but after 22, or if you want to do a smaller one, you can say, oh, let me just pick a couple cards out of this deck and get going. And that's what we're going to do.
I think my favorite thing in the world is a randomizer at a table. When I am stressed, it's like, boop, boop, boop. This is Billy Bob. And he is a goat and he likes Friends. Like it's like because
100%.
I panic. Like improv is not my forte. So it's like, okay, here's my list of go-to things that I love. Excellent. And I saw Liz, you were about to unmic too. Do you have a comment? Because like we're Russell, Amber, and I are from kind of the academic library perspective. So I'm always interested. Liz, tell us public library ideas.
Well, just to follow up on the randomizer idea, is that I liked how it was like getting started is, I think, always the hardest part for these games. But once you do get a consistent player base and like they'll start to come up with ideas that will lead to the next story. But it's getting over that first hurdle so that everyone could sort of start coming up with ideas. Because like it kind of felt like the thing with Mrs. Toad was like, we kind of split there. We split the party and it was successful, thank goodness. And so like that was, you know, we could have like paused on Mrs. Toad and come back to her to resolve that issue while we went to the mayor if we decided to all stick together. You know, I could see different narrative threads coming out as we continued to play. And then, you know, that way you can just add, you know, I just need like one character. I just need to figure out the one character who's going to move it to the next point where my players are already leading. And that's where that randomizer really comes in. So it was really nice to see that kind of organic play and narration.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds good. I would like to just know real quick what everybody's favorite part of that game was, because I had a couple favorite lines. I don't know if anybody had something they want to point out real quick before we wrap it up.
A hot air balloon for me. I love hot air balloons. Yes,
that was a delightful surprise. I think I was just kind of blown away, kind of thinking in meta, like playing the game, but at the same level, like thinking about the game and the idea that like, oh, we can use this game to really access emotions and feelings and problem solving in a very accessible way that makes sense for kids who are playing. It's like if I was a kid that's like, oh yeah, I don't know how to say sorry either, or oh, how do I deal with somebody who's being not nice to me or eating my stuff? Like I need that, my friend, I need that. And being able to get that with like, you know, like all this nice setup, because yes, you can do that with other games, but it's nice to have a framework to help you. And I love that.
Yeah, and like literally in this adventure, because I've got it up here, it's got a little note like if they don't say anything to the billy goat when the billy goat's eating it, like these are options you could do, or you could just address that later. It could be like, hey, Twilight Peaks called and said they never got their posters, you just do something like that, and then it's like, oh, the consequences of me not saying something was they never got their posters. So there's like little tips like that in there, because there's going to be groups of kids that just, okay. He's eating
Also,
it. Yeah, he's
also
eating it.
Amber is my favorite chillest character,
Yes.
but gets so serious about safety. Like that dichotomy of naps but safe. Naps, safe.
That was great. That was great. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Russ.
That just, I mean, the vibe in general, and also just the idea of help being such a core thing. It was like, it was so easy to be an excitable character, because it was just like, I just want to help everyone. I just want to help everyone.
Yeah, we were talking about like, it's kind of got like, like a real cozy Animal Crossing kind of vibe to it. And like, I think it's very much, if you ever saw Craig of the Creek, it's like one of my favorite. If you haven't watched that show, you should watch it because it's amazing. But like my thought is like that, like there's always a conflict, but then they learn their lesson and they realize they should apologize or whatever happens. And that's kind of what we're modeling these adventures around, that kind of feeling, so that it feels almost episodic, like a cartoon. And you can, as we just discussed earlier, a 10-year-old who thinks we're ancient can still relate, because they see, oh, I know a hot air balloon. Someone mentioned a phone. This isn't D&D world. This is modern life. And I can understand that, and maybe even relate it more to my real experience when I'm addressing this issue and not realizing it's actually me who might have that issue, that I need to work on, or I need to overcome, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, the ability to express using those sorts of tools.
And the layer of, it might not be me. I don't have to tell anybody it's my problem. It's it's Candy's having this problem. Candy can't figure it out. And it's like a nice layer, because sometimes kids are like, oh yeah, Candy's having this problem. That sucks. Not realize the person playing Candy also is having that, but can, like the layer of role play is nice and safe for a lot of reasons too.
Yeah, I've literally at Origins, I had a session with two families, and there was a kid in each family, and the one kid kind of just shut down. They clearly were like, the parents were like, they need a nap, I don't know, and just like had a snack and sat on the floor the rest of the time. And they were a cat, so we were like, oh, that cat is asleep in the basket of the bicycle. And then we would like say something, and we'd be like, oh, what does the cat do? And then sometimes they'd be like, no, I do this, right? So they were listening the whole time, but they were not ready to be like up and like part of the group. So
engaged.
It was like, this is, the cat's doing a thing. And then all of a sudden they were like, no, I don't, and it was like, oh, okay. So you are listening and you are the cat, so it was interesting to see how it went. But yeah, I think like we are trying not to put too many layers in there so that you can manipulate it, but to have just enough structure that there's actually structure, and rules. But at the same time, we all know with these groups that you're going to have to pivot a lot, and there's going to have to be changes, and things are going to get cut short, or less kids are going to show up this time, or too many kids are going to show up this time. So there's a lot that you're going to have to work with. And that's why we're like, got all this feedback from the RPG side, teacher side, therapist side, and say, okay, what can we do here that will actually be helpful for everyone? So
I do want to make sure we got to one of the questions that came in the chat. They ask if, where is it? Has the game been tested with kids GMing the game at all?
Not GMing the game, but definitely play testing with kids. We have not had any kids specifically like run a play test. However, there's a few people I know who ran the game, and then the kid was like, oh, I could run this, or the parent, the old like 12 to 14-year-olds were like, oh, I could run this, So I'm sure that would be the case. But no, we did not play test it with them, but we did play test with many kids from like 5 to like 16, I would say.
I could definitely see it working for when you have groups of older and younger children who need to be engaged. Like you have older siblings coming with their younger siblings. I could see it working, because I think it does, GMing does require a little bit of that abstract thinking that the older kids might be able to do.
Yeah.
More so than younger ones.
Yeah, the one family we had, it was 3 daughters, and I think it was 14 was the oldest and 6 was the youngest. And the 14-year was like, oh, I could run this for them. Basically, like they knew after they ran a session that they were like, oh, I could easily do this for them. So um it's always if they're willing to do it, right? Do they actually want to do it? But that's great. But yeah, it would be very accessible. The idea is it's pretty straightforward. And even if they didn't want to read the whole manual, the book with the adventures would have all the information in it. And it would have what the kids need to roll and how you make a character. So it would be pretty straightforward without having to read an entire book. And even that book isn't very big. So yeah. And the main box game is also going to have the professionals guide, which is that therapist, teacher, librarian, camp counselor tips, which can be purchased separately, of course, if you just want the book. So that's out there. And what I'm doing now is like starting now, you'll see me if you're following me on Ninth Level, everybody, is we've got 2 therapy conventions this month. We're going to be going to ALA next year. We're going to be going to teacher conventions. So we know the RPG families and parents are going to be accepting of this. But what we are trying to do is get it out to people who might not think they can use role-playing games in their situation. And we're hoping that this one is accessible enough that it can be. So
No, it was lovely to be able to play. I thought super accessible. I'm in my head, I'm like, yes, this is the easiest kind of dive in. It's not too much to have to remember.
Yeah.
And like on the GMing side, it's like I would love to get into those materials to see all that resources, but it also seemed
yeah.
very similar, like entry level into that. Do
100%.
you have any resources? Because all in the librarian in me is like, ooh, even if it is easy and accessible, are there how to play like videos or any kind of visual guides that you've given, so that way even because I'm very comfortable in the ttrpg world, but still there's librarians that are very new and hesitant and they always want resources and guides. So if you have any of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely on our YouTube, and I can get you these links. There's
Yes,
like
please.
usually a character creation video and then like an overview video. I believe there's a couple sample things on the Kickstarter page, but within the game, there's going to be a quick start rules guide that's a separate piece. You don't even have to flip through the book to find it. Like it's going to be like, here it is. And in the front flap of each book is going to be like an overview so that everybody, you can reference that. So, but I like your idea of maybe doing like a full overview video of like everything. Yeah, we'll make that happen before this game comes out.
Sweet.
That could be done easily.
Our gift to the library world.
Yes.
Amber, do you have any thoughts and like questions too? Because I see your mind churning, but we've been very chatty.
Oh no, just like I've only GM'd 1 game that had 3 sessions, so this feels like as somebody who's like interested but a little hesitant, like I don't know what my improv skills are. Sometimes I'm great, sometimes I freeze. I can see this is like a really approachable game, but also like as an academic librarian, being able to offer this kind of game for students who are interested in running their own, where like they don't need as much coaching. It's like, okay, we could play this together, and then like if you wanted to take this with your friends to get some experience running a game, this is a really easy one to get started with. But I also just really loved like the group problem solving. Like, if one person was really conflict averse, but somebody else was like, no, this is wrong, we need to speak up. I really love to like the entire group can kind of collectively work together.
I was so happy to split off. It's like, I can't do this, guys. I could take Mrs. Toad away. You guys deal with this. I know exactly what's happening, but I can't.
But yeah, basically, like instead of there being combat or conflict in a violent or very negative, angry way, it's usually like, how are we fixing this? Or this person's hurt, or this person lost a thing, or why is this happening over there? Basically, that's what all of the problems are. You're solving quote unquote a mystery, or you're fixing a problem. And I'm sure there's going to be times where there's conflict, where the group doesn't want to do this way, they don't want to do it that way, and that's where that interpersonal skill building is going to come into play. And sometimes it'll go great like this, but you're having then the NPC interaction where it's like, oh, well, how do I deal with that? Even though we're all getting along, there's this antagonist coming in that might not be happy with us, or we might not be happy with what they're doing. So so I think like it's just got a lot of implications for more than just playing for fun. I mean, it's great that it is a fun, easy game, but at the same time there's a lot, especially in an academic world, where you might improve it. We are going to try to work on some some teachers' guides and some things and some white papers after like next year, just because we just haven't had the time to write it.
Well, they'll be so excited to see those, because I know in academia, one of the things we like to try and build with our liaisons is here are games and how you can use them in your curriculum.
Mhm.
And if this is a game geared towards children and it has the pedagogy behind it, then all I could do is be like, hello, my teachers. I know you want tools and interesting, exciting things. We just got this into the library. If you want to work with your students, so that's a real, like, that's the angle of, like, my mind's buzzing right now, is to find all of our students that are in the teaching fields, that are in psychology fields, that are in like pediatric kind of things. It's like, I'm gonna get this, and please work with me to figure out how we can like make this work for you.
Yeah, and you know, so the therapist side is working on trainings that will use this. That again, those trainings aren't done yet, but it'll be coming out next year. And then Erin, the teacher element of the group, will be working on the white papers and the curriculum guides, so that when this comes out next summer, like that's already available, right? It's not so much maybe the most selling point right now because you can't get the game yet anyway. But the plan is that's something we're working through now that everything else is written.
No, I could tell you from an academic perspective on this, that's gonna be what jazzes everybody in our kind of area. And that's the nice thing about libraries, is we have a wide swath with different interests and like how we can come at a game, like how it works in the public library, how it works in the academic library, and all the tools from, like, the more tools you build for us, the more we're gonna be like, I'm so excited to bring into my collection, because that's one of the harder things about selling games, is like the idea of play for play's sake we find valuable, but not necessarily like there has to be some other kind of layer for other like administration levels or other groups. So it's always appreciate those extra resources.
Those will be out probably by January, hopefully, at least a few of them. So that will be good.
Excellent. Well, we are past 6, and I am so very thankful for you coming to talk to us. If you have any more, want any final messages to get out to the library community, or anyone want to say anything else?
Just thank you for having me. And I encourage you to check the link out, check out the Kickstarter, share it with your teacher, library, parent friends. And thank you. That's it.
You're very welcome. And thank everyone for coming and enjoying this session. It has been Low Stress.
Hi, mayhem.
Yes.
And we will see you again next time on GameRT Twitch. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.